So you're getting these letters back from your members of parliament, right? And or they're talking to you, or they're delivering speeches, and then they go, I totally agree with you. I share your outrage at what happened. I think that there's great reason for you to be absolutely incensed with what occurred. I just want you to know that it wasn't me. It was them. But they want you to direct it at someone else because it wasn't me. Hi, Doug Sharp, host of the National Leadership Briefing and president of Canada Family Action, coming back to you with an update on our activities as we deal with this circumstance here where parliamentarians have made the decision on a very important piece of legislation to move a piece of legislation through the House of Commons all the way to the Senate. And then our senators have made the decision to move that piece of legislation through the Senate to receive royal assent and become law here in Canada without any consultation at all from citizens of Canada. So here we are just providing you an ongoing update because I've made this commitment to you that you and I are going to walk this road together. This is a serious breach of democracy. This is anti-democratic activity happening at the highest level of our government and in our House of Commons and Senate. And we are going to pursue this issue to its successful resolution. So I'm walking with you. If you want to know more about the issue itself, you're going to have to refer back to some of the videos out of respect for the people who've been tracking along with us. I don't want to go over all the details again. However, I can tell you that you can find all of those videos at the Canada Family Action YouTube page. You can track with me personally on Facebook. Just put in Doug Sharp and find my Facebook page and friend me, and you can see all the videos that bring us up to this point in time. But we've got to continue to move forward. This is moving quickly. We do not want to be falling behind when it comes to addressing this very egregious misstep by our parliamentarians. Okay, so what we've got here is we've got members of parliament who have done this very bad thing. And the thing that they have done is excluded Canadians from having any input on a piece of legislation that went through the House of Commons. That's Bill C-4. And what we've done is we've told the people that we serve that as constituents, that's people that live. Here's an example. This is an electoral district association. So you live within an electoral district association. You actually have a postal code within a very defined area or region of the country. There's 338 of them, and you live in one of them. And what we're telling our students or the people that we're serving is that, look, you need to get in touch with your member of parliament and exercise your constituent authority and follow up with your member of parliament on this very important issue of why it is that they did what they did. And many of you have done that. And I've asked you also to send me copies of the correspondence, anything that they send you in writing about why they did what they did. So we've got lots of copies of those here. And what we're doing today is we're actually following up on that because we're starting to see these responses come in. We're starting to see the responses come in from the members of parliament. And there's a lot of confusion, and there's a lot of, quite honestly, there's a lot of lying going on. There's a lot of covering up and stuff. So we needed to provide for you a handy dandy MP response quick reference guide so you can decode and understand better the letter that you were sent back on the issue of why they did what they did. Because again, we're asking our members of parliament, under what circumstances would you feel or believe that it was okay for you to take a piece of legislation and race it through the House of Commons and put it in the Senate and race it through the Senate and then have it receive no input and no consultation from Canadians. So we have provided for you this handy dandy MP response quick reference guide that I'm just going to go through with you now, so you can know exactly what it means and whether or not this is something good or bad. But let's go through some. First of all, the number one thing here that we're seeing is the response. Hey, there's nothing to see here, folks. This is not what you think it is. Nothing to see here. It's a non-issue. Some of them have even suggested that, you must be talking to that Doug Sharp guy because he's out there fanning the fire of this thing. But there's nothing to see here. There's no crime. It's not like he says it is. And I just wanted to tell you something interesting about that is that that's a lie. because there's lots to see here. As a matter of fact, this is the single biggest thing to see that I've seen in 20 years doing what I do. And here I am sitting at this desk. I mean, I know everybody's got jobs and stuff and they can't pay all this time and attention to these things, but I've actually been pretty dedicated to following this for 20 years. And I have never seen anything this bad happen. This is the worst thing. So for somebody, when they say there's nothing to see here, folks, I want you to have confidence from my mouth to your ears. There is plenty to see here. So this is, in fact, a lie. So they're lying to you. Okay. The second thing is you don't understand. This is actually something in some of the letters that we're seeing where it's kind of like a bit of a veiled swat, like it's kind of like that silk glove over the slapping hand, where the member of parliament wants to be kind to you and honor you as a constituent, but at the same time wants to put you in your place as somebody lesser than, and not really understanding the circumstances and the things that they're dealing with and why it is that, this is just above your pay grade. And there's kind of this intimidating language that has been woven in there. So you're going to get that, particularly we're seeing from some of them liberal members of parliament and the NDP. So, because they're the main drivers of this. So that's just kind of a distasteful sort of, sort of elitist sort of perspective that you're getting from your member of parliament on that. Nothing you can do about it. It's just the way they view you as somebody that is incapable of actually understanding why. So there's really no reason to talk about why we did what we did, because you wouldn't understand. And then there's the other side of you wouldn't understand. And that is those members of parliament who actually want you to actually understand that you don't understand, because they were under a lot of pressure and you don't understand the pressure. Because I mean, if we had stood up and stopped this unanimous consent motion, then I would have been under attack and people would have come after my family, and the media, liberal media, would have attacked me, and I would have gotten kicked out of caucus. And like, you just don't understand the pressure I was in, because I'm a member of parliament and you're not. So there's that. So you're going to see that woven into letters. And so understand that that's all, like, doesn't add up to a hill of beans, but that's something you're going to see in the letters. Then there's the next one, which is probably, out of all the whole things that we're seeing, probably the most accurate of anything. And it is probably most likely true, is that I was chicken. And that is members of parliament who had the opportunity. Remember what this is. This is a unanimous consent motion brought forward by the Conservative Party of Canada within the House of Commons. Her Majesty's loyal opposition put forward a motion, and they said, we are going to race this piece of legislation through the House of Commons without any consultation of Canadians. And you know what? You're either in or you're out. Or you're either in the club or you're not. And if you are not in the club, if you do not do what we want you to do, then you are going to be ostracized. You're going to be kicked out of caucus. Maybe they threatened them with that, or maybe they said that we're going to like openly go out and attack you in the streets. Like, I have one letter here where it says here in the letter, the prospect of being targeted by my own people was unappealing to me. So at least they're honest, right? So they were chicken. They were afraid. They were fear-filled, and so they made the decision not to stand for what is right because they were chicken. That is something you're seeing in some of these letters. And you know what? I got to hand it to him. As much as I'm not going to let him use it as an excuse, is probably the most accurate. Okay. Then there's this next one here, which I just gotta laugh, because this is a good one. Okay. So you're getting these letters back from your members of parliament, right? And or they're talking to you, or they're delivering speeches. And then they go, I totally agree with you. I share your outrage at what happened. I think that there's great reason for you to be absolutely incensed with what occurred. I just want you to know that it wasn't me. It was them. And you should go talk to them about that. And this is a member of parliament who's actually trying to make you actually redirect you to go and like send your frustration and your challenging thoughts and maybe even a little bit of frustration and anger, but they want you to direct it at someone else because it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Okay, but here again, I'm going to tell you the truth, because that's a lie, right? Because we're spotting some lies here, right? So they're lying to you because it was them. because it's each and every one of them, because a unanimous consent motion can be stopped with one person standing up in the House of Commons and saying, I'm not doing it. I'm not going along with you. So it was you. It was each and every one of them. So out of 338 members of parliament, it was all of them. It was absolutely all of them. So anyway, so it wasn't me, it was him. That's a great lie. I mean, it's foolish to try and sell it to us, but it's there. It's in these letters, right? Okay. Then there's this one here, which is, this is a one that the Conservative caucus members are using, which it kind of incenses me. It's because it's so insulting. And they start out their letter with, yes, we're in a difficult situation. It was a very difficult time in the House of Commons. Now, if we had won the election, then we wouldn't have been in these circumstances, which is, okay, let me translate that for you. Okay. What they're saying is that because you didn't vote for us, we're in this situation. So it's not my fault, it's your fault. And they're trying to redirect the fault of what happened to you, and actually trying to make it your fault. Now, I want you to wholesale reject this. I want you to absolutely do not let that statement lie that if we had won the election, okay, whoa, stop. If somebody says that to you, go, thank you so much. But I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the fact that you were sitting in the House of Commons and you let a motion pass to run a piece of legislation through the House of Commons that without any consultation from me or any of your constituents or any Canadians, and you rammed it through and gave unanimous consent. That's what we're talking about. We're not talking about the results of an election passed. So quit doing that, because it's kind of infuriating that you're not remaining focused on what we're talking about here. So let's stay focused, please, on the issue at hand. Okay, this one here, this is the big lie. This is the biggest lie of all. This, if you want to know, give this the prize for the biggest, most outrageous liar's lie you could possibly imagine. And that is, we already did consult with Canadians on this issue, because before the election, there was extensive consultation with Canadians, and we talked about it at first stage and second reading and committee, and there were some changes that were made in committee, and we applied those, and yes, and all of those things, and it went into the Senate, and okay, all that stuff, right? Okay, that's a lie. They're lying to you again. The biggest liars lie. That's the lie. And so if you see that in a letter, then you're being lied to, okay? Because they're talking about Bill C6, which is a different bill that went on before the House rose and there was an election. And this, we're talking about Bill C4, which is a different bill that was raced through the House of Commons without any consultation at all. Now, that is why it's a big lie, because they're trying to make you believe that the consultation that they did on Bill C6 is the same thing for Bill C4, but it's not. They're lying to you. Have I said lie enough? I just want you to know they're lying to you, and they're liars, and liars lie. Okay. I just want to make sure that's clear. Okay. Then this is another one that's kind of, you know what? It breaks my heart because it's so insensitive to the LGBTQ youth challenges that we have in our nation. For them, in their letters and in their statements and when they speak publicly, to refer to the suicide rate of LGBTQ youth and somehow equate what happened in the House of Commons to some kind of an action that would directly help LGBTQ youth suicides. And what they're really saying, though, is that any conversation that we have, it's kind of a silencing statement, right? They want to intimidate you into shutting up and going away, because if you dare to question them racing this bill through the House of Commons, you are in fact helping LGBTQ youth kill themselves. You become a culpable homicide member in a suicide. And there you go. That's the LGBTQ. And you'll see that tied usually to a statement along the lines of, like, we want people to be comfortable to love who they want to love, as if we're talking about that, as if anybody is talking on in our camp and from our office and from our families, if we're somehow trying to increase LGBTQ youth suicides and decrease people loving other people. Like it's just like that is absolutely that's hard to see the I guess the lowest low, like, you know how liars are liars. Okay, but then there's this low sort of, you drag your belly like a snake through the mud to get that low, to put something like that in a letter. Okay, and then there is the last one. And the last one is the dead silence. And that is when you do not even get a response from your member of parliament. So you don't even, because they don't even want to go on the record, because they have, this is the thing, is those guys are probably the most truthful and honest members of parliament of all, because they know they don't have, they don't possess, they don't have in their kit bag any excuse, any reason, any rationale or justification that is good enough to actually make it okay to exclude you as a constituent citizen of Canada from participating in conversations about a piece of legislation going through the House of Commons. So the dead silence guy, as much as I kind of think that's the chicken way out too, like you're so afraid you can't even like stand up, is like, dead silence is honesty. Like, at least they're being honest. So now let's remember what our objectives, our goals and objectives are, right? Okay, so this is like all members of parliament, but we're trying to tackle sort of immediate problems. So remember, first of all, remove the leader from the Conservative Party of Canada, because Her Majesty's loyal opposition in the House of Commons, that was the party that put the legislation forward. That was the party that put the motion to provide unanimous consent forward. It was the Liberals that put the actual bill forward. So it's when this happens, when you see Her Majesty's loyal opposition refuse to oppose a bill, and they race a bill through the House of Commons and exclude Canadians. Okay, sorry. You are a leader, whether you say, because this is another thing. Oh, sorry, I should have added another one. This is like the leader's lies, right? So if you say, I told all MPs that they could have an open vote in the House of Commons. So if that's your position, Leader O'Toole, if you're really going to stand there as the leader of the party and go, oh, I didn't know anything about this, and I told them all they could vote openly about it, and this is the choice that caucus made. And okay, so that just means that you are absolutely not in control in any way of leadership of that caucus, because any leader that is totally unaware of this type of thing going on is not a leader we need. Your eyes are closed, your ears are closed, you're not paying attention. Sorry, I mean, I won't go into all the other reasons why you should not be the leader of the party, but I mean, that's why we're doing what we're doing, is we're working on a strategy to remove you from office, Mr. O'Toole. Again, nothing personal. Please, I pray for you. I pray for your family. I want you to know, I genuinely want you to prosper as an individual. You're just not fit to lead. That's all. That's all it is. So please don't take it personally. And then finally, remember what we also want. We want accountability from the members of parliament. So that when we sit down with our members of parliament, even though they lie, even though they insult and they treat us poorly, and they're really, it's a terrible thing that they do, but we've got to forgive them and still stay focused on the objective. And that is, first, to ask them to apologize for what they did. No excuses. No excuses, just apologize. We just want you to get past, we want to get past this. So just acknowledge your mistake publicly on a newspaper, email, whatever it is, show it around to people, make sure that it's public. It's not just this whisper in a room. Okay. And then we want you to commit to never doing it again. And if you can't do those things, then we're going to actively work to remove you from office. Now, I said before, I got to make this clear. Somebody yesterday called me a traitor of the Conservative Party of Canada. Well, I mean, I don't know. I won't get into my CV with the Conservative Party of Canada, but over the last 20 years, my record of service to the party it's unimpeachable. You cannot question that I am definitely very keen on the party. And I'm keen on the party because it's always been a platform where we can be free to express our views and values and share with other people and have conversations. And it really is the last place in Canada, and maybe that's why we're fighting so hard, is because it's the last place in Canada where we can express ourselves and be free to participate. And if we cede this ground within this party, then there is no place else to go. So that maybe that's why this is the biggest thing I'm working on right now. I lay at night, awake at night. I go, hey, how can I serve the people? How can I serve the citizens and help them understand how absolutely tragic and dangerous this is going to be if we let this ground go in the Conservative Party of Canada? We will have no other platform. We'll have no place. That's it. We're out. We're off the political landscape. And with people of our views and values, people that believe that families and that the authority of parents should be absolutely respected by government, people who believe that those we elect to serve us in civil government must respect and defend. I mean, fight and defend my right of belief and freedom of religion. And we also want the laws that they pass to really honestly and genuinely provide for the safety and security of the citizens, not just be political weapons, which is what we've just advanced through the House of Commons. Instead of a piece of legislation that genuinely was focused on helping people, it was just the advancement of the dealing with a political weapon. So we want you to focus on that. And we also, of course, want you to focus on things like removing that burden of debt that you've piled on the backs of our children and future generations of Canadians. So that's why we do what we do. But we need those commitments from those members of parliament that they're never going to do this again, that they're never going to actually exclude us from a piece of legislation and to comment on one as it's going through the process. Because if we don't get the commitment from them on this one, they're going to do it again. They're going to do it again to you, and they're going to do it again to me. And they're going to just get better and better at it until we finally have no say in the laws, the lawmaking processes of our land. So I hope this guide is helpful to help you identify some of the things that you're seeing in some of these letters, because it's actually quite interesting to see. Now, for those of you stuck around, I always have these sort of like this is the icing on the cake moments, or this is like the bonus round, because you've stuck through the video. You've actually stayed with me. I got one more question you can ask your member of parliament. You're gonna love this one. Okay, so every time there is a piece of legislation that's introduced in the House of Commons, there is it's kind of a report that's done to let parliamentarians know if the piece of legislation is charter compliant, which means, does the piece of legislation before you in the House of Commons, Mr. Member of Parliament, does it in any way violate the fundamental and foundational rights of Canadian citizens? And so what they do is they have legal experts in Justice Department or wherever they produce the report, and they post it online, and it says, this is rubber stamp, said, yes, this is a charter compliant, no Canadians' rights are being violated by the passing of this piece of legislation. So this is the bonus round for you now, is why don't you ask your member of parliament, when they unanimously consented to running Bill C through the House of Commons to the Senate, and then the Senate ran it right through the Senate to get royal assent and to become law, where now it's going to be law of the land, unamended, it just in its current form. So just ask your member of parliament, what was it that the report on Bill C4 said about whether or not it would in any way compromised or was an attack on my charter rights as a Canadian? What did the report for Bill C4 say about its charter compliance? Now, this is the good part, because what we found out was that the charter compliance report, because they advanced the piece of legislation through so fast through the House of Commons and into the Senate, and through the Senate into become law, that the charter compliance report had not even been received yet on this piece of legislation. That's how fast it was moved through the House of Commons. So your member of parliament is going to have to say, well, the charter compliance report isn't done yet. We don't have that information. How's that? So they actually passed a piece of legislation into law, and they made it law. The lawmakers of our land made a law without knowing if it compromised or jeopardized or attacked my charter rights as a Canadian. Now, this is what they're going to say. See, I keep adding lies to the list, right? But this is what they're probably going to say is there was one done for Bill C6, which, by the way, there were some concerns about that, whether that was charter compliant, but they're going to say there was one for Bill C6. So we felt that we didn't need to wait. We knew what was in C4, but it's already a problem, right? There are some members of parliament that believe that it's okay to ram a piece of legislation through the House of Commons and then let the courts decide whether or not it's charter compliant. So they're going to let this go out there, let court cases fly around on this piece. People are going to get sued, and people are going to have to go to court and spend money, and lawyers and all these law firms are going to make a ton of money. And then it's finally going to, over years after all the damage that it's caused, it's going to end up in the Supreme Court of Canada, where 9 unelected officials are going to actually make a decision based on the tone and tenor of the culture of the day, whatever it is at that time. So yeah, that's definitely not how we want to do it. We would like our members of parliament to actually have the charter compliance report in their hand and fully understand where it is violating my rights as a Canadian citizen before they race it through the House of Commons. So that's the bonus round for today. Thank you so much for sticking around for that, because that's just icing on the cake. This is really what we're focused on. So let's get together. Let's do everything we can. Run as fast as you can to conservative.ca and definitely buy yourself that party membership. We're going to need it. We need like hundreds of thousands of people right to get in on this, so that we have the numbers necessary to affect the kinds of changes we need to make sure this doesn't happen again. And those are the priorities. Thanks so much for your time today. Until next time, and until we to continue this ongoing thing, because I'm not going away. We're going to keep doing this. Well, I've got another great video coming up real quick that's going to explain a couple of real exciting things that we need to know, but stick around for that. But in the meantime, God bless you, God bless your family, and may God continue to bless this great nation of Canada. Bye for now.
The bear has been poked. It's time to wake up from our slumber
and stand together, united as one. One family, one body, one church.
We will not walk past the vulnerable.
Say nothing, do nothing, and turn a blind eye.
We are citizens of a great nation.
We are good Samaritans to our neighbors. You are not alone.
We are the largest unified voice in Canada. So we stand united. This is our rally cry. We are Christ to our nation. This is our battle cry. He shall have dominion from sea to sea, and from the river unto the ends of the earth. Righteousness will reign. Justice will prevail. We are united.